Welcome to Fun and Games Side Quests. Every episode is a different host sharing a video game they love and why they love it.
Before we get into this episode, please, if you have not played Outer Wilds, I highly recommend you stop listening to this episode and go play. There has never been a game more worth going in blind. I promise you, it will be worth it. And with that out of the way, my name is Larry. I'm a business owner. I also happen to be the father of the most amazing little girl on planet Earth. And the most relevant point to those of you listening currently is I am the co-host of the Bits of Time podcast with my brother Michael. To get to know what it's like over at Bits of Time, I'm going to recommend you 3 episodes that I think you should check out. Listen to our To the Moon episode, where midway through the episode, it basically becomes a therapy session between the two of us. I also would highly recommend our Chaos Child episode. This was a visual novel my brother Michael recommended to me, and to his complete shock, ended up being my favorite video gaming experience for the entirety of 2023. And then finally, all the way back season 1, highly recommend checking out our Star Fox Zero episode. That will give you a great baseline of the differences between what we both love and hate about gaming in general. But with all that out of the way, let's get to why I'm actually here, and that is to discuss a little game called Outer Wilds. Now, I know there's more than a few of you who thought I was talking about Obsidian's The Outer Worlds. Entirely different game that just happened to release the same year. Now here's the thing. Outer Wilds is an incredibly difficult game to talk about, and it is even more difficult to explain why it is such an amazing game. I would love to share with you the story of how I woke up at 2 o'clock in the morning shooting out of bed excited because I figured something out. Or that time I set my controller down and was literally in awe at what I was experiencing on screen after finally getting to a location I had been trying to get to for so long. Or even dive into the moment I was willingly watching the end credits for this game as tears were starting to roll down my face. And if you were to ask me why I was starting to cry, I couldn't even give you an answer. And the reason for that is because without having a single thing to unlock or an upgrade to gain, Outer Wilds is simply the most creative and amazing Metroidvania I've ever played in my life. Now, I'm aware that's a very confusing statement that I just made. How in the heck is it a Metroidvania if there are no power-ups, there are no upgrades? All we are is a lowly Hearthian looking up into the night sky filled with so many questions, and all we have at our disposal is our handy little spaceship that seems to be patched together with duct tape. We are far from the prototypical hero that we see in so many video games nowadays. The 2 core concepts that have been made known in the marketing for this game are: 1, this game is built around a time loop, a 22-minute time loop to be exact. The other is something I believe you should witness for yourself. Regardless of how you choose to play, the end of your first 22-minute loop, you are going to be faced with many questions that you yourself have. Why in the heck are there gigantic tornadoes in the ocean on this planet that I just tried to land on? Am I supposed to be here? Is there anything that I even need to do? Why are there meteors flying and literally breaking apart parts of this other planet? Am I supposed to go here? Do I need to be there before the meteors start breaking it apart? Are these monsters something that I need to try and fight or destroy or just run away from? And honestly, what's going on with all these ancient writings where I'm getting personal stories about individual characters? Do I meet these individuals? Where are they at? You will have questions such as these and so much more. And literally the only thing keeping you from the answers is your own curiosity. Because there's no quest markers. There is no hub to gain a whole bunch of different quests that NPCs will have you go run out and check and investigate. You have to be the one who wants to investigate it. And if you so choose to investigate, you will be blessed with what I believe is one of the most beautiful soundtracks in video game history. The songs and instruments themselves are absolutely phenomenal, but the thing that takes it to the next level is the fact that every song has a purpose. Even to this day, when a certain song pops on, I know why that song was playing or where it was playing. But it's the why it's playing that's so important and incredible with this game. Because of the time loop, there are so many organic, just unbelievably stressful moments that pop up on each loop. You might be going through some old archives and readings of some new information that you're starting to gain an understanding of where you need to go to next. Or you may have finally discovered a new location that you really want to check out, and then you hear the musical tone switch and that switch indicates something big. And now you are pressed for time and you're just trying to get this last little bit of information figured out so you don't have to go all the way back. It's that information loop that makes this game a Metroidvania. Information is your power-up. It is the only thing keeping you from getting to the next step. The way that I like to explain this and the way that I've heard it explained is basically think of a double jump or dash in video games. Once you unlock that, you're allowed to do so many new things and traverse to new areas. Well, in Outer Wilds, you are always able to double jump. You just don't know how to yet. And once you know how, you always know. And what I mean by that is if I were to go over to your place right now, listener, and purchase you Outer Wilds and then install it on your PC or console of choice, as soon as I boot the game up on a brand new save file, I can simply go beat the game. There is literally nothing I need to do to unlock and get myself to the point where I have to go and beat the game. A clever way of looking at this is in this instance, I am the upgrade. I am the difference between your brand new file and mine. And to me, knowing this, it is such a brilliant concept for a game. You are the key for the upgrade to gain knowledge to beat the game. Man, is that awesome. And in order to get to the point where you have that knowledge, you do have this little map and star chart of sorts that is built into your ship. And it does end up working as sort of an overview of what you've been doing in the game and the discoveries you've made. You can kind of look at it as a gamified version of you just taking notes in real life. So if you're someone listening to this and you feel overwhelmed by the idea that there's all these things you need to remember, this should help alleviate a lot of those concerns. Another way to alleviate a lot of those concerns is there were numerous times within my playthrough of this game where I just kind of got stuck. I didn't know what I needed to do next. I was browsing through a lot of the Nomai writings that I've discovered throughout the game and trying to decide, okay, let me piece a couple of these things together, and I hit a wall. And a lot of times, those walls, when you hit those moments, is when a lot of the craziest stuff happens because you do something completely out of the blue. You try something entirely different, and that's when you accidentally make a discovery. Embrace moments like this. This game is filled with dead ends, and it's all by design. And I suppose that does loop us right back to the brilliance of the game. That design. I can't freaking talk about it any more than that. I'm really trying to think hard to myself whether or not there's a game I've played that its gameplay, its story, and its lore are all kind of the exact same thing. So before I just start rambling on and on, I could talk about this game for hours. There, again, are so many things that I want to talk to you about. And honestly, I hope that I can someday. I would love to be able to chat with all of you about this game because I want to share it. But you have to play it, and you have to play it without knowing what it is. And really, if you do end up playing it, you'll understand why I've had to just walk through this entire episode without really having to give away anything. And so with that, once again, my name is Larry. You can reach out to me at Matter of Larry on Twitter. That's MATTER of Larry. And whether or not you choose to embark upon the journey that is Outer Wilds, it is my sincere hope that you have an absolutely fantastic day and happy gaming.
Are you tired of watching your beloved characters being tortured by careless authors?
Are you sick of feeling like they could have swapped out all of the painful action and the plot would remain untouched? Subscribe to Books That Burn, the fortnightly book review podcast focusing on fictional depictions of trauma.
We assume that the characters' reactions are reasonable and focus on how badly or well they were served by their authors.
Join us for our minor character spotlights, main character discussions, and favorite non-traumatic things in the dark books we love.
Find us on Spotify, iTunes, Google Play, or wherever you get your podcasts.
CPOV. CertainPOV.com.